It all begins with a voiceover, the voice of Prince Adam, explaining that everything goes back to where it started. Eternia, an extraordinary world where dragons exist, floating islands drift through the sky, and pretty much anything you can imagine can become real. And there, too, stands the legendary Castle Grayskull. Adam remembers his father telling him that Eternia was the beating heart of the universe, and that Grayskull was the very core of that world. Inside it lives a power so immense it could turn a man into something even greater than a god. To contain that kind of force, it was sealed inside the legendary Sword of Power. An ancient prophecy says that when Eternia falls into its darkest hour, a chosen one will appear to wield the Sword of Power and become the One. The sword is protected by the sorceress, the guardian of Grayskull. The voice also says his family has guarded this secret for countless generations, and now it's his turn to carry that responsibility. The story then introduces young Prince Adam, who admits to his mother that he doesn't want to go to combat training. He'd rather stay back and play with his pet, Cringer, but he doesn't really have a choice, and he ends up being sent off to train anyway. Soon, we see a group of children and young warriors training together. Their instructor reminds them that statues are never raised in honor of the weak, but for men and women who achieved great victories. In front of them stands a hero who sacrificed everything for his people, and now they must follow in his footsteps using their strength and skills. Still, it's clear that many of these young trainees have very little combat experience. Later, they pair up for sparring, and Adam proves he's not particularly skilled with the sword. As his father, King Randor, watches, he can't hide his disappointment at his son's poor performance. Eventually, he picks up a sword and personally hands it to Adam, challenging him to face him in a real fight. The duel ends quickly with Adam's defeat. After beating him, Randor harshly reminds him that this is not a world for the weak. Later on, while Adam reflects alone on what just happened, his friend Teela shows up to encourage him and tell him he's not weak. However, the moment is interrupted when they both notice the sorceress observing something with clear concern. Suddenly, alarms echo through the entire kingdom, and a fierce attack begins. Adam rushes off to find his mother, Queen Marlena, while the royal guard engages the invaders. What follows is a brutal battle that shakes every corner of the palace. Once most of the attackers have been defeated, one of the kingdom's main warriors comes face to face with the terrifying Trapjaw, a servant of Skeletor, and a powerful fighter in his own right. Before the battle continues, he orders the kings and the prince to be evacuated while he tries to hold the enemy back. Meanwhile, Duncan, the commander of the royal guard, known to everyone as Man-at-Arms, joins the fight, determined to stop the invasion. But he quickly realizes Skeletor's power is on another level. The villain overpowers him with ease and slams him violently to the ground. At that moment, Teela arrives to help her father. She manages to get him to safety and pull him away from the battlefield, just as a massive explosion shakes the area. Luckily, both of them escape in time. Soon after, the king and queen end up face to face with Skeletor. The villain declares that Randor's legacy will end that very night. He says he has risen from the shadows and the darkest corners of the universe to take what he believes is his, and that everyone will witness the kingdom's final fall. Realizing how serious the situation is, King Randor begs Marlena to take Adam and run without looking back. He promises he'll do everything he can to protect them, even if it means sacrificing his own life to save his family. Meanwhile, Queen Marlena and young Adam are desperately fleeing, while King Randor stays behind to face the invaders. But the enemies are too many, and slowly they begin to overwhelm him. In the middle of the chaos, Skeletor uses his magical staff to smash the head off a massive statue, declaring that he has come to claim the power that rightfully belongs to him. Skeletor orders the king to be taken alive. He wants him chained up so that by sunrise, all of Eternia will witness his rise to absolute power. After saying this, he lets out a chilling laugh. On another side of the palace, Queen Marlena manages to reach the sorceress. There, the legendary Sword of Power is revealed. The sorceress takes the sword and hands it to young Adam. With tears in her eyes, Marlena begs the sorceress to send her son somewhere no one can ever find him, a safe place where he can start a new life. Before saying goodbye, she asks that he never forget who he is or where he truly comes from. The sorceress then opens a magical portal, but just at that moment, Skeletor appears. With a powerful blast, he throws Marlena away and moves in, ready to seize the sword. Knowing there's no time left, the sorceress tells Adam he has to leave immediately. She reminds him that all of Eternia's hope now rests on his shoulders. Without another word, she sends him through the portal. Adam's voiceover then explains that this is how he ended up in Oklahoma. In the present, Adam is telling this unbelievable story on a date. Sitting across from him is a young woman named Julie, who listens with clear disbelief. When Adam finishes, he asks her to share where she comes from, but Julie is convinced he's completely lost his mind. Adam tries to explain that the Sword of Power was real, that it belonged to him, and that he lost it that night. He also admits he's been searching for it ever since, convinced that once he finds it, he can finally go back home. But the conversation doesn't end well, and Julie decides to leave, leaving him completely alone. Later, Adam returns home feeling defeated. Waiting for him is his friend and roommate Hussein, who tells him that anyone would think he's crazy after hearing a story like that. In fact, he's not even sure he believes him either. Then he reminds Adam of what he's always been told during therapy, that his parents died in an accident, and that everything else is just a fantasy created to cope with the trauma. Hussein tries to convince him to leave those ideas behind and start living like everyone else. He tells him to get stability, go to work every day, pay rent, wait for vacations, and live a completely normal life. As he listens, Adam starts remembering moments from his childhood. He recalls how other kids constantly made fun of him for being different, for telling stories no one believed. The next day, he goes back to work, but he still feels out of place. No one seems to really understand him. Even when he tries to train or ask for advice on how to improve, the answers he gets don't make any sense to him. Still, one phrase keeps echoing in his mind, that the power has always been inside him. Later, while working, Adam continues researching and looking up information about ancient swords. That's when his boss, Susie, shows up and asks him to come to her office. Once they're alone, Susie explains that she knows he's never really shown much interest in building a career at the company. However, she recognizes that he's good with people and that everyone tends to like him. The problem is that lately, he's been too distracted. Susie tells him that his obsession with swords, legends, and all those nerdy things is seriously affecting his performance. Finally, she warns him that if he keeps spending work hours researching swords instead of doing his job, she'll have no choice but to fire him. Right then, he gets a message saying they've found his sword, and he ignores everything, grabs his phone, and runs out. He's told it costs $300, and he's directed to a strange little shop. He starts talking to everyone inside, asking if they have his sword, but no one gives him a straight answer until the real owner shows up. That's how he ends up in front of a statue holding his sword. The man tells him he can only guide him this far. Adam steps closer and tries to pull the sword out, but he can't. So he knocks the statue down and finally manages to take it in front of everyone filming. He grabs the sword and says he's going to disappear, declaring that by the power of Grayskull, he will return home, but nothing happens. No power, nothing at all. Panicking, he runs off and takes the sword with him in his car. When he gets back to his apartment, he tries to figure out how it works, but ends up falling asleep. The police show up and take him in, and while he's sitting in the back of the car, Adam realizes something is wrong. A monster has arrived on Earth. The monster starts searching for him around the car, and as it loses sight of him, Adam grabs the sword and runs. Just when he's about to be caught, Teela shows up, Adam's childhood friend. She reaches out her hand, trying to bring him back to safety, but the monster interrupts the moment. Still, Teela fights it off and manages to escape with him. Teela explains she's been searching for the sword because it sent out a signal. She asks him why it took him so long to lift it, and Adam admits he lost it. They keep running, and Teela shows him her ship. They climb aboard, and he tells everyone watching that everything he said was true. Teela then takes them into space. During the journey, she tells him that Skeletor took his parents that day, and they were never seen again. Everything has changed completely. When they arrive on Eternia, Adam discovers it's in ruins. Teela explains that Skeletor never actually wanted Eternia. He just wanted no one to have it, because he's a bastard, but their ship has already been detected. Meanwhile, Lord Skeletor demands his magic staff from his loyal servant, Pig Boy, and is informed that the beast has arrived. He's told they've found it, but Teela has taken it. Skeletor then orders it to be recovered. Then Lord Skeletor angrily tells his sorceress Evil Lyn that he doesn't have much power left and that everything can still be taken from them. As long as the sword doesn't belong to him, they can strip away the power. He declares he is not just a king, but a demon trying to become a god. We then see Teela bringing Adam to the royal guard, who are hidden inside the fortress, waiting for the right moment to strike Skeletor once they get their hands on the sword. In that situation, they inform Teela that they've been discovered and that Skeletor's forces are already positioned outside. ready to attack. Teela claims she has found the Sword of Power and even says she's found the king's long-lost son, but no one believes her. Her story sounds confused, and Adam doesn't seem to know the place or the situation well. Because of that, they're seen as imposters and locked up together, accused of lying and putting everyone at risk. While Teela and Adam try to figure out a way to escape, the others realize they're already under attack. In the middle of the chaos, Teela searches desperately for a way out, while Adam bonds with a service robot. He recognizes she's surprisingly strong and asks for her help. She agrees, but only on the condition that she is never treated like just a servant again. At that moment, it's revealed that Teela's father is also there, being held captive. Adam recognizes Duncan, though he can't understand how he ended up like this. Eventually, Duncan recognizes him too, and the robot helps break him out, taking him along as the situation grows more and more critical. At the same time, we see everyone thrown into battle as Skeletor has arrived in person in search of the Sword of Power. In the end, Adam, Teela, Duncan, and the robot are captured. That's when Adam decides to step forward and speak to the enemy, who, in the past, managed to defeat Duncan. He tries to reason with him, but the opponent isn't willing to listen and immediately attacks without hesitation. Adam is left defenseless and cornered until he makes the decision to wield the sword. In that moment, he remembers the sorceress's words, the sacred phrase he was meant to speak. As it comes back to him, Adam declares, "By the power of Grayskull," and raises the sword to the sky, finally unleashing its power. That's when it's revealed that Adam is the chosen one. Instantly, a new armor appears, confirming that his true power has awakened. The prophecy has come true. Adam is the champion of Grayskull. However, his enemies waste no time attacking, as Adam still hasn't fully mastered the art of combat. Despite everything, he discovers he now has far greater strength, and the enemy is no longer able to defeat him. Adam counterattacks with determination, managing to break his opponent's metal arm and take down the rest of the attackers. Eventually, they manage to get aboard the ship and escape the area. Meanwhile, Skeletor furiously confronts his subordinates, demanding they recover the sword or face devastating consequences. At the same time, Teela's ship comes under attack again, so they send Adam out to return fire. He drops out of the ship, still not fully understanding how to control his new abilities, which causes him to crash at first before he adjusts and pushes forward with the mission. Inside the ship, Duncan tries to help Teela pilot it, but she refuses to give up control. Outside, Adam manages to fight off the remaining enemies, and when one of them is about to finish him off, he stops him with his super strength and destroys him completely. Soon after, the ship ends up crashing into the ground, leaving Adam lying on the surface as well. Meanwhile, Skeletor speaks with Malhekor and the rest of the royal guards, demanding information about the identity of the mysterious warrior. When no one answers, he begins intimidating them one by one, forcing them to beg for their lives. Still getting no response, he executes one of them to instill fear. Then he presses again, asking about the warrior who stood against his forces. Finally, Malhechor breaks the silence and admits it's the prince who has returned. Later, Adam wakes up and finds a mysterious bird speaking to him, revealing that he is the champion of Grayskull, destined to restore peace to Eternia. But in that moment, Teela arrives and interrupts the scene. Soon after, they regroup with Duncan, though the atmosphere turns tense. He tries to reach out, but Teela is still upset with him and keeps her distance. Later on, Teela and Adam talk in private. Both admit that during the time they were apart, they thought about each other and missed one another. Just as the moment starts to feel more intimate, Teela pulls back and tells him they will always be friends, forever, because she sees him as a younger brother. As night falls, Skeletor broadcasts a message filled with contempt, declaring that he sees them all as nothing more than worms beneath his feet. Still, he acknowledges that the lost prince has returned home. Even so, he declares that Eternia belongs to no one but him, including the Sword of Power. He offers Adam a choice: surrender the sword, and he will show mercy, allowing him to reunite with his mother and father as a happy family. But he warns him that if he refuses, everyone will suffer a horrible death, and that burden will haunt him forever. Faced with this threat, Adam decides to confront Skeletor to save his parents. He won't go alone. Duncan and Teela go with him. Together, they arrive at the fearsome Snake Mountain, where at the entrance, they demand the sword, but Adam refuses to hand it over to anyone except Skeletor. They enter the dark and dangerous fortress, where they find Adam's father. But the reunion is interrupted by an attack, and a fierce battle breaks out. In front of his father's eyes, Adam finally shows his full potential as the Chosen One, fighting with a power that makes his true destiny undeniable. In the middle of the fight, Skeletor's sorceress freezes him completely, leaving him paralyzed. Taking advantage of the situation, Skeletor challenges Adam and tells him he has no intention of fighting him yet, as he plans to kill his father right before his eyes. However, Adam manages to break free at the last second and causes the entire structure to collapse, bringing everything down on top of them. Despite the chaos, he manages to rescue his father from the rubble. At that moment, his father confesses that he always wanted Adam to become everything he is now. However, he admits with sadness that when Adam was a child, the world seemed too big and dangerous, so he tried to make him strong the only way he knew how, by pushing him hard, as a way to protect him. He says there are many things he wishes he had told him, but before he can finish, he dies. Skeletor then appears and declares that they have both lost. He locks Adam up, along with the other prisoners, including his mother. Meanwhile, Skeletor tries to use the sword by speaking the words of power, but nothing happens. He tries again and again, but still nothing. His sorceress then suggests a special ritual, explaining that if they return to Castle Grayskull, the sword will finally work. On the other side, Duncan confesses to Adam that he feels he has failed Teela and everyone else because he promised to protect Eternia and couldn't keep that promise. At that moment, the companion creature appears again, now grown into a massive beast, and Cringer is finally reunited. Shortly after, Adam gathers everyone present and begins to plan an escape. He tells them that even if no one really knows him, he knows all of them. One by one, he calls them out, showing he remembers each of them clearly. With determination, he declares that Eternia is his home, and he will fight for it, but not alone. They will have to work together. Finally, Skeletor is shown arriving at Castle Grayskull, while Adam and the others manage to escape the dungeon. With renewed determination, they head toward the castle as well. On the way, Duncan takes on the enemy forces, while Adam moves forward with Teela and his pet Cringer, all of them ready for the final battle. And so the Great War begins, with both sides finally clashing on the battlefield, the heroes against Skeletor's forces. Meanwhile, inside Castle Grayskull, Lord Skeletor returns with the Sword of Power, ready to claim absolute dominion once and for all. That's when Teela and Adam arrive riding Battle Cat. In a decisive move, Adam manages to snatch the sword before Skeletor can use it. At the same time, Teela directly confronts the sorceress, while Battle Cat engages the beast in a brutal fight. Elsewhere, Duncan and the robot fight together against the remaining enemies. However, once they finally manage to defeat them, the old adversary, who had previously beaten Duncan, appears again. From his ship, he manages to destroy the robot, which sends Duncan into a rage. In a moment of determination, Duncan boards the ship and defeats him, reminding him who he truly is, the commander of the Royal Guard. After that, Duncan approaches the remains of the robot. While inside the castle, the situation worsens. Adam falls to Skeletor, and the sword ends up breaking. Skeletor then subdues him, grabbing him by the head and forcing him into a series of hallucinations. He mentally transports him back to his past on Earth, where he relives painful moments, the bullying he suffered, his failed date, and his everyday life marked by failure. Skeletor tries to break him psychologically, telling him that Eternia is not his true home, just a dream meant to end. Then he stabs him as Adam slips into a vision between reality and Earth, where his friend hands him the drawing of the sorceress. At that moment, the spirit bird appears again, speaking to him and telling him to get up. It reminds her that true power doesn't come from the sword, but from within him. The sword can break, but the Chosen One cannot. It reveals that he was chosen not for strength, but for compassion, empathy, and humanity, making him the true vessel of Grayskull's destiny. Adam then returns to the fight. Even though the sword has been destroyed, he manages to rebuild it the moment he understands its true meaning. As he lifts it once again and speaks the sacred words, the power is unleashed once more, stronger than ever. Everyone present can feel hope being reborn. However, Adam tries to stop the conflict with words. He turns to Skeletor and suggests they talk, reminding him of the harm he has caused and proposing that maybe his darkness comes from a childhood without love. He tells him he doesn't care who he was, only what he chooses to be now, and urges him to seek redemption. But Skeletor responds with pure contempt, laughing at him and calling him a coward. He declares that he is a villain by nature, that evil is his essence, and that change is impossible. And so the final battle between them begins. begins. Skeletor attacks with his staff, insisting that Adam is weak and always will be, even with power in his hands. But Adam proves full mastery of his abilities, countering with strength and precision. He destroys Skeletor's staff and defeats him in direct combat, ending his threat once and for all. The battle concludes in a massive explosion that shakes the entire place, leaving only Skeletor's iconic skull as a symbol of his downfall. Sometime later, everything has returned to normal. 6 months have passed, and peace once again reigns over Eternia. The Queen has reclaimed her throne, and order has been restored. From above, the sorceress watches in silence, guarding the world's new balance. Elsewhere, Duncan has managed to repair the robot, bringing it back to life. Finally, Adam and Teela share a quiet moment, remembering the childhood drawings Adam used to make and the names he would give everything. Teela asks if he ever gave her a name too, and Adam says yes. Then, with a slight smile, he reveals that even he had a name he never forgot: He-Man. Adam also brings his friend from Earth to show him that everything he has lived is real, putting an end to any remaining doubt about his new life in Eternia. The encounter fills him with joy and strengthens the bond between both worlds. However, at that moment, a distress signal goes off. Without hesitation, He-Man, alongside his companion Battle Cat, puts on his armor once again and prepares to answer the call, ready to face a new threat. And so the main story comes to an end, leaving the door open for future adventures. But the story doesn't end there. In the post-credits scene, we see the Queen speaking with Duncan. She expresses her pain and resignation, accepting that she once believed she had lost both of her children. Duncan, however, responds with hope, suggesting that perhaps one day her daughter may return. At that moment, a mysterious figure is introduced, Captain Adora. She claims that is no longer her name, revealing that she now carries a powerful sword and an unknown destiny. And that's where the scene ends, leaving things open for new stories to come. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. That's it for today. See you next time.